Now, I read from my outline at this point. At this point, the disciples received divine, eternal resurrection life. But they still lacked direction for ministry. Wasn't many days later that Peter went out fishing again. He still didn't know what God's destiny for him was. And they made no impact on the city of Jerusalem. Jerusalem just went on the same. They were in the temple praising and blessing God every day, but it didn't change anything in Jerusalem. And Jesus told them after this experience, in the period between this Resurrection Sunday and the time of his ascension, Jesus told them, there is more to receive. Don't believe that you've got it all. When I meet people who tell me I've got it all, when I was saved, I say, if you've got it all, let's see it. Where is it? It should show. I want to read two passages in which Jesus made it very clear that there was more to receive than they had received through new birth. Wonderful though that was. Luke 24, verses 48 and 49. And bear in mind, these words were spoken shortly before his ascension, something like 40 days after his resurrection. And you are witnesses of these things. He's talking to the disciples. Behold, I send the promise of my Father upon you, but tarry in the city of Jerusalem until you are endued with power from on high. So he said there's more to come. The Father's promise you haven't yet received. But when you receive it, you'll receive power to be my witnesses. And then again in Acts chapter 1, verses 4 and 5. Being assembled together with them, he commanded them not to depart from Jerusalem, but to wait for the promise of the Father, which he said, you have heard from me. And then he explains what the promise of the Father is. For John truly baptized with water, but you shall be baptized with the Holy Spirit not many days from now. That's the promise of the Father. Somebody's estimated there are 7,000 promises of God in the Bible, but this is the promise of the Father for his children. You shall be baptized with the Holy Spirit. And then he explained the purpose in verse 8. He said, you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the end of the earth. So that's the promise, to be baptized with the Holy Spirit, and the purpose to receive power to be witnesses. That had not yet happened. This was approximately 40 days after the Resurrection Sunday experience, where they had received the Holy Spirit in new. But Jesus said there's another experience coming in which you will be endued with power to be my witnesses. And almost all commentators in the Bible from every background agree that that second promise was fulfilled on the day of Pentecost. So we turn now to Acts chapter 2, and we read some verses that describe the fulfillment of the promise. First of all, we'll read the first 4 verses of Acts 2. Now, we're talking now about Pentecost Sunday. Now, when the day of Pentecost had fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. And suddenly there came a sound from heaven, as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled the whole house where they were sitting. Then there appeared to them divided tongues as of fire, and one sat upon each of them. And they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance, or gave them to speak.